Hi Scotland, I am a non-Spartan. The House of Lords has referred to the Committee for Privileges the question whether the House of Lords Bill, as amended on report, would, if enacted, breach the provisions of the Treaty of Union between England and Scotland. This is a specific bill that attempts to amend the Act of Union in a case in the Lords. The legal precedent, however, is the same for both houses. One question: what's the most famous writing Daniel Defoe ever did? A Journal of a Plain Year. Or maybe Colonial Jack, Robinson Crusoe even. But he wrote the minutes at the Act of Union. The primary issue is the government with respect to this issue was set out on the 22nd of June 1999 during the consideration of amendments on the report of the House on the House of Lords Bill 602 HL Debs Colonel 885. It was then suggested that Article XXII of the Treaty of Union explicitly envisaged that the Parliament of Great Britain could amend or change the number both of the peers of Scotland and of the representatives of Scotland who could sit in this House. It's difficult to fight the Act of Union. It's easier to prove that the UK voluntarily extinguished it. It was broken with the malt taxes in 1708, but this particular bill dealt with the Union and Parliament. The Lords BT law is the same for both. It is submitted, for the reasons hereinafter set out, that the position of HM government is rested upon an erroneous interpretation of the wording of Article 22 of the Treaty of Union. It is material to the status of Article 22 to ask this question: while the Union of 1707 endures, may Parliament lawfully enact that all members of Parliament returned by Scottish constituencies, and all peers of Scotland, shall henceforth be excluded from Parliament? In other words, the government either willingly or otherwise misread the Act of Union. Now let's say that that was accepted legal position from 1707 until 1998. So the malt taxes and the EU etc. all were simple mistakes. This new reading of the Act of Union rebuts previous reading of it by this answer. It is submitted that the answer is no. For these reasons, the Parliament of Scotland was entitled to impose conditions when in 1707 it transferred power to the Parliament of Great Britain. The second, the Parliament of Scotland did impose conditions when in 1707 it transferred power to the Parliament of Great Britain. The third, one condition imposed by the Parliament of Scotland was the right provided by Article XXII for Scotland to be represented in the House of Lords and in the House of Commons. IV. That right expresses a principle of representative government that has the same force today that it had in 1707. And v. The terms of Article XXII do not explicitly envisage that the Parliament of Great Britain could remove the right of Scotland to be represented in the House of Lords. Though this says House of Lords, one could easily say House of Commons, as both are mentioned above. These are just my take on the individual clauses to make my point as to why I believe it will arguably dissolve the Act of Union. Okay, there are 4 points in this whole document. I will find them and point them out. 1. Guarantees the right of the Court of Session to be independent of any UK Supreme Court. 16. The articles disclose an intention that some provisions should be alterable by the Parliament of Great Britain, and that some provisions should not be alterable by the new Parliament. E.g., Article XIX with respect to the Court of Session. The crux of this document is that the Act of Union gave power to Westminster with conditions. Breach of these conditions would render the Act itself dissolved by the Act. Because it was given with condition, it was devolved, and power devolved is power retained by Scotland, not Westminster. This document, made 18 years ago, says that if the Lords breached the case, it would have an effect of dissolving the Union. And so far they don't have the Henry Statute to retrospectively change stuff. Treason available from the House of Lords Library. You will find the transcript in the description of this video. We are Scotland. We do not forgive. We do not forget.